Good morning, everyone. But how I decided to do this instructional video today is kind of go through and show you what we have planned for this week for you guys. We are starting a new unit or module is what we call them. We're finished with the banana stuff. Now we're moving on to this kind of idea, which is, excuse me, I highlighted the wrong part. Should Puerto Rico be a state? And so on Monday's lesson, we're introducing you to the idea of Puerto Rico being a United States territory, which is owned by the United States. So Monday's lesson is meant to give you kind of a backstory. Your task is to write a paragraph describing how the United States became owned, or excuse me, how Puerto Rico became owned by the United States. Tuesday, we're looking at making a timeline, so doing research and then making a timeline of the events that led to Puerto Rico becoming a Commonwealth of the United States. Wednesday, we're looking at arguments. So, shockingly enough, Puerto Ricans, people that live in Puerto Rico, are kind of split. Some think that Puerto Rico should be its own independent country, and others think that Puerto Rico should be owned by the United States. And so, Wednesday, we're looking at arguments in favor of Puerto Rico statehood for independence. And Thursday, we're looking at arguments against Puerto Rico's independence. Friday, I just have a quick, short vocabulary and language lesson for you because we finished all of our Greek and Latin roots. We had so many that we were going to get through, and we finished those, so I'm going to look at doing other things to get you guys exposed to new vocabulary terms. Today's presentation is done on Pear Deck. You've used Pear Deck before with Ms. Reisbeck, so I'm fairly confident you know how to use it, but I'll just run through it real fast and explain to you. Some things you'll be required to watch and view. Other things, you'll be required to just give a simple thumbs up, thumbs down. Here, you're required to go online. You can use any online resource you want, and you'll drag these dots to where the bottom point shows the location. So the red dot, you need to put where Arkansas is at. Now, obviously, there's no state markings here. You'll need to get as close as possible. Purple is Puerto Rico, so you'll drag it and drop it where Puerto Rico is located. Obviously, Arkansas and Puerto Rico are not in the ocean. The white areas are land. And then lastly, Spain. And if you watch the video from before, you'll see why Spain is important. So you'll drag these and drop them in the correct location. Those are obviously not the correct location. More information to read, you need to go through and read all of this information on your own in order to gain a full knowledge. I will go back and read this at the end of the video if you need it read to you. You'll have some questions to answer as well. At the end of your lesson, don't forget that you need to go back to Google Classroom and click Turn In whenever you're finished. If you don't click Turn In, then I don't know that you've done the lesson completely. So make sure you tell me, yes, I've done it, click Turn In, and then you can be finished with the lesson. Okay, so I'm going to go through and read this to you if you need it. If you don't need this read to you, you can stop the video. Our first slide says, how did Puerto Rico become United States territory? It is owned by the United States. You can pause this video to go watch this one if you'd like. I'm not going to read this part to you, except for I'll read this paragraph. Make sure you pay close attention to the video right here, because at the end of this lesson, you'll be required to write 4 to 6 sentences about how it became a territory. Did you know that Puerto Rico was a Commonwealth of the United States? And then you can drag this yellow dot where you'd like to put it. Using any online resource that you are comfortable with to help you, find the following locations and place the dots or the markers on the map below. Red for Arkansas, purple for Puerto Rico, and green for Spain. Get as close as possible. The next slide is an excerpt or sample of the Treaty of Paris. Did you know there's more than one Treaty of Paris? There's actually 3, and we've worked with 2 of them, and we're working with the last one that we're going to study with now. There's the Treaty of Paris 1763, which ended the 7 Years' War, which was the very first war that we studied. There was the Treaty of Paris 1783, which ended the American Revolution, which is the last war we studied. And then there's the Treaty of Paris 1898, which ended the Spanish-American War, which we didn't really talk about that war in detail, but it was a war in the late 1800s, which really wasn't too awful long ago, if you think about it in terms of the history of the United States. So this is a sample of the treaty between the United States and Spain. and it was signed on December 10th, 1898. And the main part that I want to draw you to is right here in the middle. And it says, Spain cedes to the United States the island of Puerto Rico. And at the time, they spelled Puerto Rico a little bit differently than they do today. Eventually, that spelling changed over time. So Spain cedes the United States the island of Puerto Rico and other islands now under Spanish sovereignty or rule in the West Indies, and the island of Guam in the Marianas. Spain will, upon the exchange of the ratifications of the present treaty, proceed to evacuate the Philippines as well as the island of Guam on terms similar to those agreed upon by the commissioners appointed to arrange for the evacuation of Puerto Rico and other islands in the West Indies. So when the United States owned owned Puerto Rico, the Spaniards had to evacuate the area. They had to leave. Only native Puerto Ricans and Guatemalans could stay. You might have seen one or two words in that sample of the treaty that you maybe have never heard before. One of the words that maybe you didn't know was seeds. Using an online dictionary, I want you to find the meaning of the word seeds as it's used in the treaty. Spain cedes to the United States the island of Puerto Rico. So you can open up a new tab and pause this video. Go look that up right now because you need to answer, does seeds mean to control, to give up, or to reach an agreement? Now remember, earlier I told you in the video that you need to pay very close attention and look for details. So if you need to go back and watch that video again from the very beginning, you can. But here's your task. Your task is to write a paragraph describing how Puerto Rico became a U.S. territory. So I want you to put that paragraph right here. Now remember, a paragraph is 4 to 6 sentences. Congratulations, after you write your paragraph, you are finished. Make sure you go to Google Classroom and click Turn In on today's lesson. Did you click Turn In yet? You either did or you did not. Either way, you need to go do it. Please let me know if you have any questions. I can Google Meet or Zoom Meet with anyone if they do not understand what's going on in the lesson. I hope everyone has a wonderful day.